I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation and Treaty 3 territory. I'm Marcel Larondo. I'll be chairing. Our panel members today are Laurie Davidson and Diane Knight. Our assessment department today will be Amahan Singh, and our administrative personnel will be Belen Rojo. We will be hearing applications for revision of assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit the discussions to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matter must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessment of properties are not considered evidence of market value at the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decision with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to applications of exemption from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the Board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We will be hearing items 2 through 5 and 7 through 10 on our docket today. Ms. Rojo, please affirm the assessor and the applicant's testimony.
Mr. Assessor, please state your full name.
His mic is off. Oh.
Armon Singh.
And you affirm the evidence you're about to present at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
Rocky Neufeld.
And you affirm the evidence you're about to present at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Singh, when you are ready, we'll be dealing with item number 2, 160 Donald, and it's on assessed value quantum, correct?
That's correct. Before we begin, would you mind if we do 325 York Avenue after 160 Donald, if you don't mind?
Which one?
325 York Avenue. They're very.
And why is that?
It's on the third on the docket.
Why did you want to change the order, though?
They're very similar properties, same arguments, but if you don't want to, I don't. It was just a request.
We can just go right through, and we'll take into account that it's going to be the same as number 2 when we get there.
Yep.
Okay, because we won't repeat the questions or the arguments on it. We don't have to. Go ahead with your number 2 with 160 Donald.
So this is file number 22-1837.
Can everyone hear Mr. Singh? I'm having problems here.
This is file number 22-18-2037. Roll number 12093374000. Otherwise known as 160 Donald Street. We have the roll year 2023. The reference date is April 1st, 2021, and the assessed value is $2,669,000. It's the surface parking. The land area is 24,316 square feet with 80 outdoor parking stalls. Recommendation is to maintain the 2023 assessed value of 2,669,000. Page 2, you can see the subject property aerial photos. It's on the corner of Donald and York Avenue. Page 3 is the subject street level photos. Page 4 is the request for income information and subject sale history. Page 5 is our land sale comparables. Page 6 is a subject property map where you can compare where the other comparables are located with the subject property. Page 7 is the Municipal Assessment Act excerpts. Page 8 through through 23 is the IME mailer that the owner sent in. Page 24 is the subject property actual rates as of April 1st, 2021. And that's my presentation.
Mr. Neufeld, do you have any questions?
Yes. What was the method of valuation? Was it direct comparison?
Land sales, yes, it was direct comparison.
Yeah, okay, sorry, I'm just slightly confused. Wasn't the assessment department doing all of these on income approaches for parking lots?
Well, the assessment department for this location, 160 Donald Street, we did the income and the direct comparison approach, and through the market analysis, it was determined that it did not represent market value for using the income approach, so we used the land comparison approach.
I see. So at some point in the past, an income approach was attempted, but was the income approach applied for creation of the role, or was direct comparison applied for creation of the roll number of the value?
Well, we presented land sale comparables.
No, I understand. You're presenting today in defense of the appeal land sales. Was the role created under the income basis or the direct comparison basis?
I'm not too sure regarding the question. I would have to ask my supervisor.
Okay, that's fair. Now you have presented the income, and I'm noticing that on your page 16, or sorry, well, 15, 16, 17, 18, a number of reports. And in that particular summation, I'm looking at page 18, is showing an income of net income of 84,000 per annum. Is that correct?
Yeah, so this is what the owner has sent in for their income expense report.
Okay. And do you, I just want to be careful. I don't want to ask you a question that you don't have the evidence on, but here's a better question. Today, for the purpose of defending the appeal, are all of your information direct comparison?
For 160 Donald Street, yes.
I'm just looking for the rest of the day. Are they all based on direct comparison? I know it's a little inappropriate asking to go ahead, but it's a methodology question I have.
Oh, right. You know, I'm new to this, so I prefer to go docket to docket.
Okay.
Honestly.
Well,
I know some of them are mixed.
when you prepared it, did you note anything, any that were done income or any that were done, or were they all done on direct comparison?
No, not all of them were done direct comparison.
So they were all done direct comparison?
No, no. I said not all of them were done as direct.
Oh, okay. And just again, just out of curiosity, what which ones weren't done on which ones were done on income?
Again, we have to go docket by docket if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, I sorry, I found one. Now, um, you mentioned that the city determined that they weren't going to pursue this on an income approach. What are the capitalization rates applied to parking lots in Winnipeg?
For this property, we didn't provide a capitalization rate because it was done on land sale comparables.
Well, okay. I mean, we're going to get into this later, but I noted that in some of the other ones today that the cap rates were 5.5%. Is that pretty much normal?
I prefer to get into it later on.
Um, all right. I think my line of questioning is, I just want to explain it to you, is that we have seen this happen a fair bit where when we get to hearing, we have valuations that were done on income and switch to direct comparison and vice versa. So I'm just looking for a consistency of approach. If there was, if the approach is being changed by the assessment department to suit a defense rather than a preparation of the role. And that's why I asked, what is the standard cap rate for parking lots?
It depends.
Or a range is fine.
So it depends. Like if it's in the inner core downtown, it would be 4.5%.
4.5. Okay. Um, Now, in regard to your comparisons that you brought in, I take it you used a rate per square foot as your unit of comparison?
Yes, so I forgot to mention 24,316 square feet at $109.77 per square foot. Yes.
Are all of these parking lots?
Currently are in the past.
At time of sale?
At time of sale, 1 through 6 was surface parking and 7 to 10 was vacant land.
Okay. Oh, I see. That's why you have that solid line between 6 and 7 then?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's helpful. And I take it then that some development may have occurred on numbers 7 to 10?
Currently
Or
or
after the sale?
right. So, yeah, actually, for number 7, I believe for number 7 they merged the two properties and they made it apartments. Number 8, I believe, is a beverage hotel. It merged two properties together. They made a beverage hotel. And number 10 has been converted into surface parking.
Okay.
The other ones, number 2 is currently being developed into 10-story multi-purpose building.
Which one was that? Sorry, number
Number 2, it's currently
number 2. Okay.
number 9 is also currently being developed.
Okay. Now, on that basis, we have a parking lot. Why wouldn't you use a rate per parking stall?
What was the question?
Your unit, you're using a rate per square foot,
Right.
and you're using sales that obviously sounds like half of them ended up being developed. The subject is a parking lot, and still it was a parking lot, still will be one. Why don't you use the preferred method, which is a unit of comparison, which is the number of parking stalls?
Right, so we covered that before. Basically, pardon?
A rate per stall is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so that would bring it to the income approach, and we did the income approach, and we found that it didn't represent the market analysis or the market value of the property. So that's why we did land sale comparables.
Well, that might be your opinion that it brings it to the income. I do have the textbook in front of me, and a unit of comparison on a rate per parking stall is a direct comparison approach. You're not aware of that?
Again,
I got the chapter right here.
yeah, I might have gotten your question confused, so I would have to say I don't know.
Okay. And what I'm getting at is then if you use a comp that wasn't sold for continued use as parking, you may have different motivations then, would you not?
Repeat the question.
If you're not using a rate that focuses on its actual use, such as a rate per stall or an income on the parking, you would then potentially have a different motivation for the sale, such as development.
Well, we view parking lots as an interim use.
Okay.
For further, just waiting for development.
How long has this been a parking lot?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Well, as long as I can remember, and I'm getting really old. So I don't think it's an interim use, is it?
Parking lots are yeah, parking lots are basically interim use. They're basically holding value until the time is right, or the time is right for development. If you look at our sales comparables, and as I was going through them, they started off as parking lots and vacant land, but and parking lots are basically vacant land. If you go through my comparables, most of them are being developed into other like apartments, beverage hotels, multi-purpose buildings. So that's our view on parking lots.
All right, those are my questions. Thanks.
Lori, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I do have a question. Just looking at your comparables, this one is located on Donald and it's 24,316 square feet. So not being an expert on parking lots or anywhere close to that, location and size must have a big impact on the value. So in looking at your comps 1 to 6 that are parking lots right now, which ones are the most comparable that you're using as the best comp for this property we're looking at today?
So if you look at the comparables, 1 to 10, we would look specifically focused on 1 to 6, just judging by the size.
But they range from 11,000 up to 70, and this is 24. Which one is in the same area? Like the NCA for 160 Donald is what? Is it the same as number 5 and 6?
So the NCA for 160 Donald is 161.
Okay, so it's in the same area as 5 and 6.
It should be. If you look at the comparable map that was in the
Yes, I saw that.
yeah, so yes.
Okay. Okay, well, I think that, gives me a sense. Thank you.
Diane, any questions?
Just to confirm, there's 80 stalls here? And you
Yes,
don't have a price per stall, you're just going by square foot, correct?
yes.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
I guess my question, Mr. Singh, is, so if you're not happy with the number you're getting, you can change the approach to value?
No, it wasn't that we weren't happy. It's just that that it really didn't represent the value of the subject property. The rates were, when we did the analysis, the rates were very, very low. And normally it doesn't sell the price per square footage. You wouldn't be selling that for the property of 160 Donald for what we got for the income approach.
And what's the land zoned as?
Pardon?
What is that land zoned as? What is the zoning on that land?
Oh, the zoning. It's multiple use.
Multiple use. So if by coincidence this was agricultural, a farm or a number of farms, would you go to income approach or would you go to direct comparison?
160 Donald would not.
Okay, let's just say it was a apartment block. Would you be using income approach or would you be using direct comparison? Comparables.
I'm not too sure about the answer about that. I would have to ask my supervisor.
This is the first time I see a direct comparable throw at us on parking lots, so that's why I'm asking the question. I've always seen them on income approach. In a sense, the city, I do believe, has always looked at it as sort of land banking and getting it ready for further development. By the time they go through the development on these lands, it would probably take them 2 years to get the permits. Is that not correct?
Oh, I wouldn't know about that. You would have to ask the PP&D.
Okay. Let's move on.
Mr. Chair, I have one further question.
Sure.
How did you come up with the 109.77? Is that a medium or an average of those prices that you're showing there?
Value divided by the 80. So
yeah, so we would use
the value divided by the square footage.
Yeah, I get that part, but where did we get the 109 from? Is that an average or a medium of that listing that you're giving us as your comparables?
No, that's not an average or a median. I don't.
It's just a number you use based on your comparables?
I'm not too familiar with it has to do with the land area and the assessed value. I'm not too sure exactly how it was derived, but it's not the median or mean of the comparables.
Is that it, Diane?
Yeah, that'll have to do.
Mr. Neufeld, on with your presentation, please.
That's sorry. Thank you. I lost it. Okay, here we go. What we have done with the parking is looked at the rate per stall, which is the appropriate method Appraisal Institute uses for on direct comparison. It's never per square foot because a couple of reasons. One, there's configuration. If a lot is configured better, you can get more parking stalls out of it. If it's irregular, you get less, and then that defines its value. The second is on a rate per square foot, you can often get purchases that are made for a different reason, such as 242 Hargrave wasn't purchased for parking. It was purchased for True North to develop that site, and therefore is not a valid indicator. An income approach is, as the assessor suggested, more generally it is often applied to parking lots, and that they're parking until a better use comes up for it. And 242 Hargrave, great example. 160 Donald has been a parking lot for as long as I can remember, and I'm sorry, I'm not go any further there about age and how old we all are, but it's been a parking lot forever, let's just say, and it's attached to the building I'm sitting in right now. And if we didn't have the parking, we wouldn't get tenants in our building. It's sort of part of the economic operation. It was purchased with the building I'm in now, which is 330 St. Mary, purchased with 175 Hargrave building, and purchased with the other lot the assessor brought up at 325 York. They were all part of the same package. So in order to get a performing office building, you need parking lots. And that's as simple as that. There are no plans for development on it of any sort. And so when we did this, we looked at lots that we knew sold on the basis of their parking capability. And yeah, it's true, some are a little bit outside the area. The strongest indicator, of course, is 240 St. Mary. It's smaller, 30,000 a stall. 168 Edmonton is in my mind, I don't know why that came in so low at 8,700 per stall, but it is part of the market. And then the other ones have different area influences. Of course, Bannatyne and McDermott are in the Exchange District, still downtown, as is, and Pioneer is in the what do you call that? The Forks scheme of things, and there you're seeing rates per stall vary, and from 11,000 to actually 626 out, not in there. Sorry, I'll disregard that one. From 32,000 to 39,000 per stall for parking. Now we did end up at 30,000 a stall. And there is one more comp, and the assessor brought it forward. He mentioned 155 Gary, number 6. I just checked. That has 62 stalls in it. And that works out to $24,613 per stall. So on a direct comparison approach, that's the number you use, not the rate per square foot. I think that there's some degree of correlation in those numbers to the value, and we are then requesting on the basis. Now we had done it 2 ways as well, and one is the mean on the per square foot basis, which is 84.82. Coincidentally, within a few cents of the assessor's number 6 ongoing parking lot in NCA 161. That's the only one that is ongoing parking in 161 at 8478. We had a calculation of 8482. So our number comes in between 1.897 and $2.062 million as for the methodology. My preference would be to lean on the per stall basis because that takes into account configuration differences and utility differences. One of the factors on when I'm talking about the configuration issue is looking at, I don't know if we've got good overviews here. No, but there will be another lot coming up shortly where it's been permitted direct access from the back lane. So our lots are completely fenced in. There's one entrance, one exit. And you can see that in our picture, that it's controlled. Now, there are some parking lots where you can park directly off the back lane. Now, for example, in our picture on page 2, the building to the left of that's 175 Hargrave, and you can see they park right on off the back lane. So that's a really good configuration because you have less wasted space. There's no lanes required for maneuvering. So on that basis, you're going to have a great yield, and that's why we like the method of number of parking stalls rather than square foot, because if that were a parking lot on its own, it would have a high parking lot yield and it would sell for more per square foot. And our subject, if you note, is got two maneuvering lanes all around it, and that would be the reason for leaning on the per stall rate. The other factor that comes into these, and it's probably important on what they call the NCA, is casual parking. This lot is for our building, but does allow special event parking. So that's an important characteristic of a parking lot because it's additional income. And since the Jets came back, this lot and our other lot to the York lot, which is to the west of this, have enjoyed better performance on the casual parking side. And we don't get a lot of parking in it, but it is additional income. And they used to donate it to charities before the Jets came back, and then it made more money. They decided to put that back into the income. And the last point I'm going to make is the concept of changing your mind and picking an approach that shows a higher rate. For years, the assessment department has insisted that we use income. They thought that was the right way to do it. And now they don't like the income. And I'm paraphrasing, I'm not quoting anyone. So obviously they don't like it. $84,387 as indicated on the assessor's page 18, even at his the lowest cap, 4.5% in parking, comes up with a value of $1,875,000. So there's two different methods in play here, and again, you can't pick and choose which one is better for you. If you look at the income, it would probably be 1,875. I'm suggesting stall count 1,897. And there we have a proper valuation. Look at both techniques and come to some reconciliation. That's my presentation. Thank you.
Mr. Singh, you have some questions?
Yes. Yeah, on your brief, it says 74 stall counts, but we have 80, and on page 1, and on page 4 or page 24, we have 82 stalls at $236.25 per month. Which one is it?
Okay, so you're referring to the page 24, and this is Indigo's publication, correct?
Yeah, as of April 1st, 2021.
Okay, so this complex is comprised of one, two, three, four, five parking areas. And those are, if you look on page 2, I want to see if maybe your map's better than mine. I'll show you where they all are. That's an Indigo designation, not a property manager designation. Yeah, you've got a better picture than me. Page 2, your top picture. So the subject property is outlined in red. Now, not on a different role and a different statement will be 325 York, which is immediately west of that. It's the parking lot. Then we have a small lot at the rear of 175 Hargrave. I was pointing that out to you earlier. So that's the building and across the back lane. And it looks to me like there's about 18 stalls there roughly. That's number 3. Then number 4 is the building to the north, 330 St. Mary, and there's outside parking there. There's about 24 stalls. And then St. Mary also has 76 indoor stalls. So all 5 of those lots are within our statement. Now, Indigo characterizes their lots. They have the contract for all the outside parking. So however they describe the lots is their issue, not ours. I took the number from our property manager. That's what we counted. Now you could go look at the picture and count the cars. I don't know. And one of the issues that sometimes comes up is that there's for event parking, they allow some parking on the south fence, but for normal parking, it's not rented out. For the south and north fence, you see, picture my page 2. There's see the south fence. There's no parking there now, and in the north fence, there's one car parked there. In a that's a special event parking stall.
Looking at your comparables, I was looking at number 3, 626 McDermott, and number 6 at 835 Notre Dame. They're close by the Health Sciences Center. Would that be near our subject property or in the inner downtown core area?
No, it's not. And the reason they were included is exactly what you're saying, is the heavy demand for parking in the Health Sciences Center neighborhood. They were included to show a character for a high demand parking area. In the final analysis, it does not change our minimum and maximum. Those all come from downtown zoning, and it may bring up the mean if those were excluded. However, we applied, the mean also, though, of course, has Edmonton Street in it, which is at the low end of the scale. So it's an industry concept. I think the strongest comparisons that we should be focusing on are 240 St. Mary and your 155 Gary. I don't know why we didn't pick that up in our analysis. Maybe we didn't go back as far. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to go to number 7 as well. It's 180 Logan and 623 Main Street. Wouldn't you agree that our subject property is in a superior location? than the number 7, those two addresses that I just mentioned?
Yeah, I got my Google Earth here in front of me. Our reasoning for 623 Main, was, that it's close to a number of, uses, that, looking at the site, there's not a lot of parking in the area. The major user at that is, the WHA across the street at 630, and 640, and it's overdeveloped, very little parking. I would put less weight on it. I would agree on that point, though.
And finally, number 9, you mentioned that before. It's pretty low. I did some research on it. Were you aware that the sworn value and the paid value are different on that one?
Yeah, and my understanding is that there were a multiple parcel sale, and that was a breakout on it. I think our firm handled the transaction, and that's why we included it, because we had third-party validation of the number.
But did you know that it's not really an arm's length sale?
I don't agree with that. I believe I just said that let me just look at this. I'm trying to make sure I know about the right one here I'm talking about. This is 168 Edmonton. Yeah, it was, sorry, I'm gonna backtrack on this. This was an actual trade sale, is my understanding, is that the user, two users swapped lots. And as I understand, but it was handled by our firm, so I'm happy with the sale. It's when I went through it, I wasn't putting a lot of weight on it. I said right in the beginning, it seems like a very low number as far as market. We don't want $8,000 a stall. We want 25,000 or what do we do here? 25,600 a stall.
Yeah, because just looking at it, I think 4 of the directors are on Grant Spike or Spink Limited. So,
well, one of the reasons that I'm just looking at the picture again, why the stall count was low. It's kind of an irregular parking lot, and I think that they were facing some issues with access off the back lane that the property and planning wanted to curtail. There's been a lot of issues in, not so much in the current administration, but some of the previous administrations about how much they hate downtown parking. And there have been rules that have been coming out. Like, for example, our parking lot is completely fenced in. Now, if you want to get a new parking lot permit today, you've got to be fenced in. So 168 Edmonton can enjoy its not legal non-conforming use, but if there were a requirement for another occupancy permit, they would not get this configuration. It would be a detriment to it. And I think that's one of the big reasons why the number came in lower as on the value.
yeah, so the next question would be like, if you take that one out, it would affect your mean and median as well.
Well, I don't want to take it out, but what I want to do is put a lot less reliance on it. I told you the two that I thought were parking lots and sold as parking lots and continued use as parking lots, which was my number 8 and your 155 Gary.
Yeah, that's all the questions that I have.
Diane, do you have any questions?
Just at 155 Gary and 240 St. Mary's Road are your best, what's that word I'm thinking? Comparables.
Yes.
Are you still going to go with the 84, 82?
Yeah, because the rate per square foot has got, as I mentioned, such a lower applicability to it.
Yeah. I'll just leave it at that. That's all.
Yeah,
Thank you.
never the right unit to use. If you're selling it as a parking lot.
Right. Okay.
Lori, any questions?
Yeah, this is just kind of a methodology question. So your preference is to assess these based on the per stall cost, based on what you were citing in terms of manuals. So the city doesn't use this at all, it appears like it looks like it's used the direct comparison, it uses the income approach. Like has the city, in your knowledge, it's as the city, but have they ever used the per stall?
No. I don't think they've ever used it. I think what they've done is what you're going to see today is they jump back and forth. Pardon me?
You were just frozen up. Do you want to say that again? Sorry.
Yeah, okay. I have my speakers in a bad place and I think I kicked it. The city has generally used income as the primary, and then occasionally in the past, then they would sometimes switch to rates per square foot. We've seen this a fair amount, this lack of consistency, and the reason, I don't know why they do it, but why that's improper is if you are a parking lot, you should be valued as a parking lot. And there have been too many development sales slipped in there. For example, when Manitoba Hydro moved in and gobbled up all the land they needed for their building, they were paying close to $200 a foot for land. And when True North went in, the assessor showed you one sale, but there's other sales that hit, I think, $170 a foot, and that's called assemblage. And so if you use sales like that for development with different motivation, you're not getting a picture of the parking lot. You're getting an indication of a different motivation. The St. Regis sale, that was another one that came up a lot in the past. That was sold as redevelopment land as well. So the texts would say a rate per stall. You can look at the rate per square foot as a information basis, and income if the property is a parking lot and will stay a parking lot. Now, we didn't do the income because there's no cap rates out there, because the sale, they rarely ever are parking lots sold just for their income. And I'm not disputing the 4.5% because you heard me all the time complain about cap rates. You can cap a parking lot lower because it doesn't have its highest and best use established. There's no improvements to bulldoze if you don't like it. So you don't have a wasting asset in the real estate. It's only the land.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry for the long answer.
No, that's helpful. Thank you.
Okay, Rocky, the problem I've got with we were doing the stalls this time is because there's a number of lots there. And have you got the total for all the lots that are there?
I do in a different document. Like I said, there are 5 that are covered in there. I think what we did in this case is we just looked at the picture and counted them. Or no, wait.
No, you didn't.
Here, but I think I sent somebody outside to count the stalls because it's right outside our door, and they're all numbered. Like I have a rental of stall 26 in the lot.
I'm just saying, because there's a number of spots on others, are we going to have a lower number overall?
I don't know. What do you mean by lower number?
Well, the city's got it at 80. You've got it at, well, you got it at 80 to 8, well, as high as 82, where the city has it as high as 82 in some of your workups.
Yeah, I have it 74, and the city's number was 80. So, I mean, potentially, I guess we could go back and count the number of stalls. The data is not correct that they presented. Impark's number, that's Impark's number. That's what they manage, one of the other 5 stalls.
Well, Impark is 82.
Yeah, but that includes, I'm fairly sure that includes the rear of 175 Hargrave.
But you're not sure.
No, I'm fairly sure. I'm counting them now.
Good. I came up with 80.
I got 19 times 4. $76. And then of course, then there's also those lots those stalls that are not rentable except for special occasion. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. So that makes 80. They're not revenue generators like we are not allowed to park there as dailies.
But you said you said the profits were made on the special events.
Yeah, sure, a little bit, but if now take a look at the statement. The special event parking is listed. So, oh, it's not. Oh, they didn't give the breakdown here on this statement. Well, I essentially the special event parking on all 5 lots is, I think it's around 100 and a little over 100,000 a year, split into outside parking is at 4 of these units. So on that basis, outside special event parking might be $30,000 to $40,000. I have the exact number, but I haven't entered it as evidence. So you take $40,000 on 80 stalls and then 130,000 on 76. And in the long run, if you use the income approach on our statement on the parking, oh, I was looking at the wrong page. Okay, let me just look. 160 Donald. Okay, roll number. Oh, I see. I have to look for the fine print where it says 160 Donald. No, these are all 160 Donald. Yeah. 80. I mean, it's earning $84,387. Take that and cap it at the city's lowest rate, and my number's dead on.
Okay. Anything in summation between either of you on this one? Anything in summation?
Yeah, I just have one thing for the panel, Mrs. Knight. Just to answer your question, and my brain froze when you asked how I got that number.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the assessed value divided by the land area.
Okay.
And yeah, it's pretty simple, but
Okay.
sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay. That'll conclude this
No,
matter.
sorry, I just had one comment to make for my closing. I thank the assessor for his candidness and openness. This isn't how he's defending this, and he's told us the truth. This isn't consistent, and the assessment department has changed methodology. Thank you.
Okay, that'll conclude this matter on number 2. Now, Mr. Neufeld, Mr. Singh has asked us to go to number 4, which is 325 York, because it's along the same lines as this one. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. In that case, we're going to go, panel members, we're going to go to 325 York next because it's very similar and we can tie them both together. Is that okay with you?
Oh, with me? Yeah. Are you asking me?
No, it's the panel members.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. 325 York then. You got that,
Oh, sorry.
Belen?
Yeah,
Okay, number 4. Go ahead then, Mr. Singh, on 325 York.
So this is file number 22-1858. Roll number 12093403000. So we have the assessed value at 2,001,000. Surface parking, zoning is multiple use, land area is 18,233 square feet with outdoor parking of 57 stalls. Recommendation is to maintain the 2023 assessed value of 2,001,000. Page 2, you'll see the subject aerial photos and the street view photo. Page 3, you'll see the request for income information and subject sale history. Page 4, you'll see the same land comparables as mentioned before, with the subject property of 18,233 square feet at $109.75 per square foot. Page 5, you'll see where it's located compared to the comparables that I presented. Page 6 is the Municipal Assessment Act excerpts. Page 7 to 21. 21 is the income and expense mailer sent by the owner. And page 22 is the subject property actual rates as of April 1st, 2021. And that's my presentation.
Mr. Neufeld, do you have some questions?
Yes.
You don't have to repeat the ones from the first one, though.
Yeah, no, exactly. I thought that. I just want to confirm that this was done the same way, that it was chosen to defend it on a rate per square foot then. Same answers as before, I take it?
Yeah, yes, same answers.
Okay. On your statements, I'm just noticed something here. Page 17. Why is this in here?
Oh, you mean because it's 175 Hargrave?
Yeah, it's a building rent roll.
Mm-hmm.
It's the adjacent building.
So, basically, this is what the owner has given us for an I&E statement for this property.
Oh, so when they submitted it, it was combined with.
I think it's a combined.
Yeah. Okay.
combined of both.
So you're just giving us everything that was submitted. That's fine. And then
Yeah.
just to confirm on page 16 that the actual net income was $70,687. That's what they provided.
That's what they provided us.
Thank you. Those are my questions then.
Okay, Diane, any questions?
No, thank you.
Lori, any questions?
I just had a question. You said on page, sorry, the one you just said, page 15, I think you said the net income was 7687, and it says 175 Hargrave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so as we mentioned earlier, they combined the.
Oh yeah, sorry, I see it there now. Sorry, I see you there. Okay, I got it. Thanks. Sorry about that. I have no questions other than that. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Neufeld, if you'll go on with your presentation.
Yeah, very similar, using the same numbers, the same calculation, and also considering the assessor's comp on 155 Gary. We happen to agree this time on 57 stalls. And this is because this lot is a little more self-contained. So that, remember I said earlier that 160 Donald, I think it includes the parking at the rear of 175 Hargrave in its lot number. And when you, I guess it's fortunate that the assessor provided the rent roll for 175 Hargrave, because I'm reviewing his data and there's no parking in there. Like, they don't have separate parking attributed to the rear of 175 Hargrave. It happens to be in the roll, the statements for 160 Donald on that basis. Now, but a note on these statements that the assessor has, pages 13 to 16. There's two issues with these. First of all, the building is valued. It's owned by a REIT, not a REIT, by an investment company, and they follow IFRS standards. So these statements are required to be broken down to take out what they call ground rent or a parking rent. That's why they're produced separately. And the second reason they're produced separately is because I told them to, because they used to just have all 5 lots because there were ground rents, the way they're treated with IFRS, with breakdowns and shared expenses. So beginning in about 4 years ago, we managed to get them broken down. That's why I'm really confident that we're giving you a roll amount. And you notice that the top roll 12093, whatever, this was at my request. So we do have 70,687 in NOI, and if you use the lowest city cap at 4.5%, that number is 1,570,000, so 1,570, and our calculation on the rate per stall is a bit lower, 1,461, as opposed to the to the income-based method. And you know, it's supportive. I'm not agreeing with the 4.5. It's just the unit of comparison. So it's obviously in the $1.5 million range, however you want to look at it. And that's my presentation.
Mr. Singh, any questions?
Same questions as before.
Okay, thank you. Lori, any questions?
No, thank you.
And Diane, any questions?
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, summation I could take, we did it before, right? So we're going to revert to 292, that's number 3, and it's 292 Fort Street. Going back 1 second while we pull that up. Two. Mr. Singh, when you are ready.
File number 22-3297. We have a preliminary issue. We will not be seeking the non-cooperation.
You will be seeking non-co-op?
We will not.
So you are withdrawing your request?
Yes, I'm withdrawing my request for non-cooperation.
Non-co-op withdrawn. We're okay with that? Bellin, or do you need a signature on that?
No, that's enough, thank you.
That's good. Okay, then carry on, Mr. Singh.
File number 22-3297, roll number 120931130000, address 292 Fort Street. We have the assessed value at $593,000. It's surface parking, zoning multiple use, land area is 6,053 square feet. Outdoor parking is 20. We recommend to maintain the 2023 assessed value of 593,000. Page 2 is the aerial photos of the subject property. Page 3 is the street level photo. And the access is east of Back Laneway between Fort and Gary. It's located west side of Fort Street between Graham and Portage Avenue, across from the Winnipeg Square Shopping Center. Page 4 is the request for income information, page and subject sale history. Page 5 is the land sale comparables. Page 6 is the subject property in relation to the comparables. Page 7, we have an income market approach. We have 20 stalls at monthly unit rent of $104 per stall, at cap rate of 4.5% for an estimated value of $555,000. That's on page 7. Also, we produce 2020 reported rental rates for surface parking with comparable properties. Page 8, we have the income value summary with net operating income of $24,960, cap rate of 4.5%, and estimated market value of $555,000. Page 9, we have capitalization rates by other companies who do market analysis on cap rates. Page 10 is the Municipal Assessment Act excerpts. Page 11 to 23 is the I&E submitted by the owner. And page 24 is the subject property actual rates as of April 1st, 2021. Presentation.
And Mr. Singh, you're saying that you wanted it 593, but your workups say 555. Which number do you want?
Just 1 second. I just have to look at my notes. So we are seeking 593, and I believe this one we're relying on the land comparables instead of the income approach.
That's why. Okay, so you're going. Okay, Mr. Neufeld.
Okay, so this time we've got both of them, and we've been over the ground already on the direct comparison and the techniques used. That's fine. On the income approach question, you have a net rent of $24,960, and I understand that's net, as it says at the bottom, includes expense adjustments. What would the gross rent be?
I don't have that information with me. I would have to, I don't know.
Okay, well, below on page 7, you have expense ratios. And they range from 30% to 57%. If you inverted this expense ratio, is it fair to say that the gross rent would be in the neighborhood of $40,000?
Well, these expense ratios are for specific properties.
Right.
And
You don't have that
Right.
expense ratio for the subject?
no, because we produced the net operating income, so we didn't include the expense ratios for the subject, nor did we include the gross either.
Okay, but you can confirm that this is a net after all expenses number, 24,960 then?
Yes, it's net operating income.
And you capped it at, the model is capped it at 4.5%, correct?
It is 4.5%.
Now, you have provided the statement on it. And that's on your page 21. And you can confirm that, and I don't know if you know this or not, but $28,800 is a gross number for parking. You have the 28.8 listed. Are you aware that that's the gross number?
You're saying page 21?
Yeah, page 21 is this is a combined statement for 230 Portage and 292 Fort. 292 Fort is their parking lot, and there is no parking at 230 Portage. So you see that there's a number entered at 28,800 for parking rent.
This is what the owner provided.
Right. And are you aware that that is a gross number?
I suppose so. I can't really. Oh, there's the number.
No, I understand that it's not entirely 100% clear, but okay, and that it is my question, and I can address it. Those are my questions. Thanks.
Diane, any questions?
Just to that statement, we can't really tell what expenses then are out to the parking lot, correct? Because it's a combined thing.
Because it's combined, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Lori, any questions?
Yeah, I had a question. When you did based on the income method and you came up with, I think 555 or 555,000, are the numbers that you use within that, like the variables to arrive at that assessment, are they from a model or are they specific to this parking lot, since you use different methodologies for different parking lots?
So this would be from the model.
Okay. So using the $104 or use on the rent bumpers and all of that, that's all model driven? Like for all the parking lots you used the income approach on?
Not too sure about the answer. My opinion is yes, but
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Neufeld? If you'll present on your side now.
Certainly. With this property, as I mentioned in questioning, is provides parking for 230 Portage, and 230 Portage is, if you look at the picture of the subject lot, is located 2 buildings away. It's on Portage. It's not the lot that has parking in the rear. It's the lot that's is fully developed. It's a Canadian Western Bank, and they're managed together, and the income is all put in there. It earns income from 230 Portage tenants, as well as there is some casual parking on it. We've used the same methodology as before, and yeah, it's smaller size. This one is fairly good yield, because if you look at a picture of it, it's got parking both sides in a central lane. That's about as economical for space as you can get. They do have to park at a slant so that they fit in, but it's not a hardship. An interesting point is that the owner initially owned the lot immediately south, which I think is 270 Fort, and they did a swap, but because the property owner who used to own this lot owns the building that's adjacent, and they just swapped out. So when you look at the assessor sales, they just represented a trade that they did. They selected a value, and each party sold to each other for the same amount. It's just interesting. And in terms of the income on this, the statement that the assessor has provided indicates 28,800 gross. As to determining what that net might be, it's I don't have a breakdown. However, the taxes alone are $12,000. So and the utilities are listed under owner's expense, which is $3,936. So there's approximately $15,000 in income, which ends up with an NOI in the neighborhood of $13,000, and that is depressed. The previous year before COVID, the gross was 40,000. One of the examples of COVID on parking, because the downtown user canceled their parking, and there's no casual to speak of. It's predominantly the office building, and they are on a short-term contractual basis, and the ability to cancel their parking for the people who were sent to work at home, and it cuts it down in the income, and there's no one to replace it. So a true victim of COVID. The $13,000 calculation on the estimated NOI would indicate a much lower assessed value, and again, using the assessor's cap rate, that actually would indicate a value of $288,000. We're not seeking $288,000. We are sticking with the same method and a rate per stall, and in this case, it's a bit more stabilized, because this one, interesting. I know we don't compare assessments, but the last 2 properties we heard didn't suffer an income decline due to COVID, because except for some of the casual, but all the people who park in there are contractually bound in their building rents. So my office, for example, we had 6 people showing up for work, but we were still renting 30 stalls and paying
Lost
for
you,
it.
Rocky.
Pardon me?
Sorry, I lost you. What did you say? My office?
Oh, well, 160 Donald, 325 York are leased under long-term releases, so their income didn't fluctuate. The parking,
Okay.
the tenant who's in 175 Hargrave or 330 St. Mary was still paying for parking. And what I was saying is, during COVID, maybe 4, 5, 6 people showed up for work in my office, but we still paid for over 30 parking stalls. Where it differs is that with this particular arrangement with 230 Portage, Canadian Western Bank, they negotiated an out for their people sent to work at home. So the income would normally be around $40,000. And then after expenses would be somewhere around 20,000. But due to the COVID, it went down to about 13,000. That indicates a value of about 288,000. But we're still sticking with the same methodology here, which is 25,000 a stall, 513,000, and that's my presentation.
Mr. Singh, any questions?
Just the same from the comparables before.
Okay. Lori, any questions?
No, I have no questions, thanks.
Diane, any questions?
No, thank you.
Anything in summation, gentlemen? Do I hear no?
No.
No summations, thank you. I think we're gonna take a 10-minute break, if that's okay with everyone.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, that's one.
Call the meeting back to order. We'll be dealing with item number 7, which is 508 Hargrave. And Mr. Singh, are you there?
Is it 508 Hargrave or 222436? Sorry. Maybe I missed up.
Yeah, there's no address next
Yeah,
to it.
we're on
No
item
address
5.
on this one. It's
I've
just
got
file number
508 Hargrave.
222436.
No,
Where are you
item 5 with no civic address.
Mhm.
File 22436.
on number
Yeah.
7?
No, we're on
not.
number 5.
Somewhere on Smith Street.
Oh, right, number 5. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I missed that one.
it's okay. You're confusing me.
Okay, I'm easily confused today, so you'll have to forgive me. Not a good day for me. Okay, number 5 it is. No address. Mr. Singh, on number 5, please. And this is all on value, Mr. Singh? Is Mr. Singh shut down?
I'm right here.
Okay. This is all value?
Yeah, land sale comparables.
Thank you. Go ahead when you're ready.
File number 22-2436. Roll number 1209-326-8200. The assessed value is 1,778,000. The use is surface parking, zoning multiple use. Land area is 18,138 square feet with 68 outdoor parking stalls, and the recommendation is to maintain the 2023 assessed value of 1,778,000. Page 2 is the subject property area photos. I believe it's access to a back lane or a back alley. Page 3 is the subject property photos. Page 4 is request for income information and subject sale history. Page 5 is the land sale comparables. And this is also located in NCA 161. Page 6 is the subject property location compared to the land sale or the comparables that are presented. Page 7 is the Municipal Assessment Act excerpts. Page 8 is the multi-role or I&E income expense mailer that the owner provided. Page 8 through page 21 and page 22 is the subject property actual rates as of April 1st, 2021 with 68 stalls and monthly stall rate of $205. That's the presentation.
Mr. Newfeld, any questions?
Yes, just one second here. Okay, sorry, I was just, I'm sorry about that. So we're, one, sorry, 116, Smith. On this one, was this done then the same way? I don't see an income approach here. It's a sales comparison approach.
Yes, it was the same answer as before.
Okay, and these are all the same comparisons, nothing changed. Are you familiar with, or did you investigate the sale on page that you quote on page 4?
I didn't go into a complete investigation on it, no.
Okay, you're aware that it's sold as a parking lot between two parties. A Smith Agency sold it to Beaufort Investments for 1.2 million solely for the parking revenue. Are you aware of that?
Again, I don't have those details.
Okay. Now on the statement that was provided, and I'm starting at page 14, and I know this quite well, that this is a joint statement with 305 Broadway, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and in it, the gross rent is listed as 159,580, correct?
What was that number again?
159,580 gross.
For parking rent?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And there's another entry, just to confirm, page 17, land lease, $50,792 as an expense. Do you see that line item
So what page is it?
on page 17?
Yep.
Okay.
What was the question?
Just confirm that that's that number that you have submitted, that number, 50,792. And on page 16, sorry, I'm backing up, property taxes for both properties, 158,728. That's your evidence, correct?
So the pages that you are referring to was sent in by the owner, so I can't really comment on what.
I know, but it's your evidence, correct?
It's not. What, like, what meaning do you have?
Well, you submitted it, right?
Right, I submitted the INE mailer sent by the owner. Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's all. It's you own the evidence. That's fine. Now, on again, like is in the previous property, pages 18, 19 are the rent roll for the building at 305 Broadway. Is that correct?
That's what's written down. Yes.
Okay, and on any of those entries, and I'm talking, there's a column marked charge code. Is parking listed in any of these?
Well, just keep in mind, this is what's sent by the owner, so I can't.
No, I understand. But again, you've submitted it, so I do have the right to ask you questions about your submission, and I'm just asking, do you see a parking entry here for a charge on any of these tenants?
Yeah, so what would the abbreviation be?
Well, okay, if you go to the first one, Starbucks, M fee is management fee, OP is operating costs, P tax is property tax. And if there were and then STRG is storage. If there were parking, it would be written as PARK. There's none of that, is there?
No.
Okay, those are my questions, thanks.
Lori, any questions?
Yeah, something I probably should have asked before in general. On terms when you use the comparison, is it also market driven? Like, are the comparison properties picked for you, or do you pick them yourself, or is it just generated from your model?
These comparables were by the modeling department
Okay,
in the city of
thank you.
Winnipeg.
Thank you. That was it.
Diane?
I have no questions.
And I've got no questions. Mr. Neufeld, on with your presentation, please.
Yes, thank you. The same methodology was applied, and we have the two numbers on the rate per square foot and the rate per stall. The reason why the stall count in this event was so high is if you look at our picture on page 2, you'll see that they have one entire lane that backs onto the back lane. They get a better yield on their parking than a normal lot, which it has more stalls per square foot, and that's why the count is higher. That is a legal non-conforming use, because if they take out a permit for anything, and I know this for a fact, anything, they'll be told to fence it in and get a single approach. But they actually have access to both back lanes, the Broadway back lane and then the back lane between Smith and Donald. Cars can enter right off there. So with this relaxed entry, the yields are greater. Our office was at 305 Broadway, and I parked in this lot for years, so I a lot of inspection time on the lots. My car is not there. Okay. Now, in regard to the income, and this is the assessor's evidence, but I asked him to those numbers just to point them out to the board. So the gross income is 159,580. The land lease, this is the way it's characterized in statements, is the costs that are paid to the building operator. To the parking operator. I think we're with Indigo. I should know this because I always had to call the tow trucks to get people out of my spot. No, this is an in-park lot. So they pay 50,792 out of that gross income is in-park's combination of their maintenance costs, the utilities, and their management cost. In addition, property taxes. So the property taxes on this site, they're not specified separately, but they're easy to calculate. They're approximately $43,000, which leaves a net income of $64,000. And we didn't do it on the income approach, but it's $64,000. And if you use the 4.5% cap, which you heard earlier, that comes to a value of $1,422,000, which is lower than the other two rents. Now, in this particular case, I think I'd rather rely on the rate per square foot, because I think the additional stalls are legal non-conforming, and I question the length and strength of that particular methodology, and I think 1,538,000 would be the correct number to look at in a rate per square foot. Last thing I want to say is that this was one of the very few sales done for the income on the property. Both parties are clients of mine, and I had the chance to interview both of them. So Smith Agency sold it to Beaufort Investments, who also own 305 Broadway, and they just wanted a source of parking for their office building, which they viewed, if you could control parking, you have a greater ability to rent your building. 1.2 million. The income at the time was almost the same as it was right now, except Smith managed it cheaper. Cap rate on sale was 6%. For an honest to goodness cap rate for a parking lot. One of the very few I know are truly accurate. Income has eroded slightly since then because a professional manager charges more than Smith was charging. But if you, not going to argue with their cap rate today because I didn't provide any new evidence. Just as I said, look at the rate per square foot in this case, because we have those legal non-conforming stalls, and that would be my request at $1,538,000.
Mr. Singh, any questions?
I just had one general question. You keep on referring to the income expense mailer that the owner has provided, but if it's so simple to discern the income and everything, why hasn't the owner just split it up and provide the income and expense mailer for the property of 116 Smith Street? And why is it always a multi-row form?
Well, they work for themselves, not for the assessment department. They're content with their statements because they work for their needs, and they don't customize reports because the assessor would like to see it broken down. That's the assessor's job. So when they do supply this information, they send it to the assessment department, and all of these forms have a signature at the bottom as to who prepared this. In this case, Colliers would have been the person to contact. And if you have any questions, there we go. Darren Clausen signed this, page 13. You call Darren and say, hey, what's your breakdown? And he would do it for you. We're more than obliging, and he would give you the number I just gave you.
Yeah, it just makes it hard to discern which numbers to use for the subject property.
Like I said, we don't do your job for you. You got to do that part.
That's all the questions.
Diane, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Lori, do you have any questions?
I don't either, thanks.
Rocky, can you tell me why 3 of the lots are non-conforming? 3 of the parking stalls?
The parking stalls, yeah, it's the parking lot bylaw, City of Winnipeg. The first was during the Cates administration that this was brought in, and it was followed up with the next administration of Bowman. There's a sense at City Hall, and I've provided this as evidence before, how there's this sentiment amongst City Hall, our politicians, that downtown parking lots should be dissuaded. And we all know that in the public that people are making statements like there should be an extra tax on them. But essentially, and I have it in my files somewhere. Let me just see if I can find it, and I'll give you a quote on what that bylaw number is. And when it came into effect, it essentially made okay, it's going to be on this other one here, 3 McDermott. The features of the bylaw, and I'm sorry I didn't provide it to you, were that the new bylaw requires all fencing to be all lots to be fenced in with single points of access, or double if it works out with the traffic flow, and no more direct access from the back lane. So this particular lot, when you look at the picture, page 2 of my report, you can see that there's only one car parked when this was shot on the south row. That is a legal non-conforming use. Now, the bylaw reads that with the request of any permit, you have to conform to the new bylaw. Unlike, typical, they're called grandfathered clauses. Typical grandfathered clauses, it's generally just a change of use that triggers a requirement to conform. With the parking lots, they went a step further. So if tomorrow they had to redo their electrical, there would be a requirement to conform to the parking lot bylaw. So the south side and the west side are all open to the lanes. That would be changed. And so what you end up losing is that one row of parking at the back, and then you would likely have an in on the south half and an out on the north half. And you would lose some stalls at the end where the fence are for turnarounds, so you can circle. You would probably lose about 20 stalls when with conforming to the city bylaw. Now, there might be a reconfiguration where they might go like a north-south row instead of an east-west configuration. I haven't worked it out, but it is. Oh, I know where I can find it quickly. I would just Google Winnipeg parking bylaw. It came into effect 2016, and it's bylaw 862016. And in it are the issues on parking restrictions, on parking in the alley, and just want to find the specific clauses. Restrictions, regulation. Sorry, I'm going to read it all to you. It's 45 pages.
No, I don't think that'll be necessary, Mr. Neufeld.
Waiting for you to say that. You wanted to hear me read 45 pages. No, we're quite aware of the and 160 Donald, 325 York. Those are examples of ones that comply. The 116 Smith does not.
Okay, now your stall count is 65. The city's got 68.
I like our number better because I mean we parked there. I'm just trying to see if there were restrictions on usage on some of these. That might be the count. You notice that in the right corner of the lot that there's a what is there is the machine, and there's no parking in front of that. And oh yeah, this is another restriction. This is where my son parked on my page 2. That stall is not usable. It's by the electrical panel, and it's sort of falling apart. And so that there's another unusable one. It's probably those two lots, those two stalls that are the difference.
Well, there's 3.
Yeah.
That's different.
Well, both sides of the parking machine and then the electrical panel one.
It's just I look at it with your numbers. If we go to the actual count that the city has and use your numbers, we come up very close to the city's number.
Well, I suppose so, but they didn't do an inspection and they didn't park in it for 10 years. I'm comfortable with my numbers.
Okay.
And the other indication is for support is look at the income that it generates and the city cap and the mythical valuation that they performed for it that they're not submitting to you. Those are serious concerns. There's also a tree in one of the stalls on the assessor's page 3.
By the truck there.
Yeah, there's a tree in one of the stalls.
A good stall, you get shade in the summer.
Yeah, I guess so. And you see on that picture to the far left where the silver car is, that there's no parking in that stall. That's right on the side because that's where the machine is. Yeah, you can't see my car, but there's some person standing there. I parked right there.
Well, that should throw the value right out of the window then.
Absolutely.
Okay, I've got no further questions. Anything in summation, gentlemen?
I just want to say that the stall counts have been counted. My belief has been counted by the city of Winnipeg for the surface parking.
Mr. Neufeld?
Regardless of the extent of either party's inspection of the site, whether my 10 years parking there or a city employee who's not here to testify, whatever you want to rely on, I say that you got to look at the income, and the assessor has provided the income for it. And I've shown you what the actual NOI is coming off there, and using their cap rate. It's another one of these mystery assessments. It does indicate a lower value. The income would say 1,422,000 at a 4.5% cap. And we're just looking at the square footage because of the concept of all the legal non-conforming sites. Thank you.
Okay, that'll conclude that matter. We'll move on to item number 7, which is 508. Is that correct? 508 Hargrave? Yeah, 508 Hargrave. Mr. Singh, when you are ready.
Just to expedite matters, there's 2 stall properties here, Hargrave and Victor. These are accessory parking for WHA sites. And I believe they've already been exempted. And my reason for filing these appeals is we wanted them heard on the same day as the property that they had parking for, because the parking was included in the lease, and I got no control over scheduling. So we're going to just ask it be confirmed. And because what we were going to do with it is just deduct the value, no matter what it is, from the assessment appeal of the building proper.
Okay, Mr. Singh still has to read them on though.
Sure, just save everybody time. You can just.
Good. Mr. Singh, if you want to read number 7 on to the record.
The complete thing? Yeah.
Hargrave.
File number 22-1838.
Sorry, Mr. Singh, I can't hear you. It's kind of garbled.
File number
Thank you.
22-1838. The class and liability was appealed on this. So this is roll number 1306 1069 100. Address 508 Hargrave Street. The assessed value, it's
Just 1 second. Did you say the class and liability was appealed?
it's the class and liability was appealed on this.
Okay, then Mr. Neufeld, I do believe you would have to go first if you're appealing the class and liability, correct?
Yeah, and we'll just ask for those to be confirmed. I have no case. It was part and parcel of the other parent property.
Okay, Mr. Singh, we'll just read that information on up to your value and we'll just.
So the assessed value was 356,000. It's 40S classification. Recommendation is to maintain the 2023 assessed value of 356,000.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Neufeld, you're asking us to confirm the class and liability and the value, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the panel members?
Mr. Newfield, what was the other property you were wanting to confirm?
The next one,
Victor,
285
Okay.
Victor.
Okay, thank you. I just didn't catch all that.
Lori, you okay with that?
That's fine with that, yep.
Okay. We'll look at it after, but it looks like it's gonna be clean. And we'll move on to the next property, Mr. Singh, number 8. Is it the same thing on this one where we're dealing with classification and
Yeah, so the class and liability has been appealed. Classification is majority is 40S and some of it is 60T for assessed
Okay.
value of 271,000, and recommendation is to maintain the 2023 assessed value of 271,000.
you still have to read the information on it.
Okay. File number 22-3489. Roll number 13096186600 285 Victor Street. Assessed value, and we have the 40S as 241,000. We have the 60T as 30,000 for a combined assessed value of 271,000. Surface parking, zoning is community. Land area is 9,258 square feet. 36 outdoor parking stalls, and recommendation is to maintain the 2023 assessed value of 271,000.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Mr. Neufeld, you wanted to confirm this one as well for classification and liability and value?
that's correct. May I ask one question though?
Sure, you may.
Both this one and the previous one, being outside the central business district, have both been done on income at 5.5% cap rate. Why would these be done on income?
We thought that the income would be better representative of market value. Did you want me to go through the income or?
No, I don't. It's just your choice of methodology. That's all I was questioning.
Are you done with your questioning, Mr. Neufeld?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Lori, any questions on this one?
No, I have none.
Diane?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Class and liability confirmed. Okay, so the next one will be number 9, which is 307 Elgin. Is that correct? 307 Elgin. Let's get up. Let me get these up.
So it's file number 22-3076. Roll number 13099068875. We're talking about 307 Elgin Avenue. Assessed value is 811,000. The surface parking, zoning is character. Land area is 11,908 square feet with 38 outdoor parking stalls. And recommendation is to maintain the 2023 assessed value of 811,000. Page 2 is the aerial photos of the subject property. Page 3 is the subject property street view photo. Page 4 is the request for income information. Page 5 is the subject property market income. Page 6 is the, yeah, so we had 38 stalls at $80 monthly net unit rent for net operating income of $36,480. Overall cap rate used 4.5%. for an estimated value of 811,000. Below, you can see the comparable properties reported rental rates for surface parking. Page 6 is the income value summary. We have net operating income of 36,480 at cap rate 4.5%, estimated market value 811,000. Page 7, we present the capitalization rates. Page 8 is the Municipal Assessment Act excerpts, and page 9 is the 9 to 16 is the INE submitted by the owner. And page 17 is the subject property actual rates as of April 1st, 2021, with they are charging 210 monthly rate with 39 spaces. And that's the presentation.
Mr. Neufeld, questions?
So in this particular property, you're using the income approach then?
Yes.
Okay, and did you have a chance, no, I take it that the income that's applied is all based on the model?
I believe so, yes.
And did you take a look at the statement that was provided to you?
What page?
Sorry, I just had it in front of me. That would be your page 9.
Just briefly.
Well, and just based on what the owner has supplied to you, and I notice he put in interest, so I'm taking that out, would indicate net income of $8,560. It's a fair difference between what the model's showing and what the owner's showing, is it not?
I can't see the net operating income.
He didn't fill it in. 50,674 income, 48,043 expenses, and 59.29 the interest, which goes back in. My math says $8,560 net operating income.
Yeah, so like he didn't fill it in, so I can't comment on it.
Well, isn't it just math? I mean, just a calculator. He's got the data there, right?
Right, so why didn't he fill it in?
Well, because I guess he thought you had a calculator.
Not on me right now.
Rocky, let's not start throwing rocks. Now we're in the last one.
No. I mean, come on. That's just, it's the numbers are there. Is there any number there that's lacking? That was a question. Is that number, any number that's lacking for primary data?
I can't tell for sure.
All right, those are my questions.
Thank you. Lori, any questions?
I just have one question. On the comparables you're using for the rental rates on page 5, this one is on Elgin Avenue and it's 12,000 square feet. Which comp would you rely on more?
I would rely more on comp 9, 10, 11. It's in the Exchange District, which is very nearby the subject property.
So 9 has 20 stalls and 10 has 31 and 11 has 175. Okay, thank you.
Diane?
Rocky actually asked my question.
Okay. I guess I'll ask you the question this time. When was the last time the city did a count on these lots, on these stalls?
I can't tell you exact date. I do know that they've counted stalls in previous years.
It just seems you and Rocky seem to be off by 3 stalls every time.
We're trying to
Okay,
tag team together.
that was my question. Mr. Neufeld, on with your presentation, please.
Okay, I know that the owner had submitted 38 stalls. Our count might be incorrect, might be not up to date. Imagine that we just did a visual on it. Page 2 is the overhead view, and then the bottom is the side view. Now, remember, I was telling you earlier about parking and the issues. So this one is conforming. So you'll notice that on certain sides, it has a solid fence, which is required by the bylaw. And then portions that abut another property can have the slotted fence. And then there's landscaping for making a parking lot look better on the other side. So that would be the I think that's the Princess side that has the solid fence and the trees. So this is an indication of what the bylaw wants for surface parking. The person who prepared this report was using a rate per square foot and a rate per stall. We hadn't seen the statement. I think I can't change it. I mean, I know you can entertain a difference in numbers, but in this case, it'd be significantly lower. So I'll put it this way. The owner has indicated 8,560 net rent. And I noticed that when I read these statements, and I've just read them now, there's some costs here that are a little bit fuzzy and unclear, such as miscellaneous, and the maintenance repair seems to be on the high side. I'm looking at this and thinking I would probably adjust those numbers. I think my opinion is that the NOI coming off this is likely a bit closer to $20,000, and I don't disagree with. I'm not going to disagree with the cap. I do, but I won't. That comes to 444,000 as the assessed value today. Right now, verbally, I believe that that's the number that should be applied, and I am making adjustments just based on my observations, experience, and I just finished reading their statements for the last 3 years and found which was the basis of my change. I don't support what we presented in terms of a rate per square foot, because this is a little bit different area. This is not downtown. Now, the biggest user here will be Red River and some of the apartments that have been converted. The industrial lofts have been converted to living, but the income has never been there in this lot. And I think that when someone looked at this and said 5842 a square foot, they probably should have been looking at some of these sales in the 20s and the 40s, not knowing anything about value. This is just an office sort of mass appraisal look at it. As I said, I disagree with it, but the income indicates 444,000, and the previous year's assessment of 662,000 is under appeal at the municipal board. That's my presentation.
Mr. Singh, do you have any questions?
Yeah, so it's the same comparables, the same questions to the comparables as previously. Just one general question. You indicated that the subject is north side of the exchange and has lower demand for parking. Since it's near the Red River College, wouldn't that be a higher demand for parking?
Well, yeah, but Red River, I mean, there's two factors to consider there. Is that the downtown campus was premised on good bus transportation, and students don't make a lot of money. The second issue is that they have a school year. which means that the lot, if it were dedicated for school parking, would be empty 4 to 5 months per year. So it's not, that has to be, you could look at it. Oh, and over Christmas, there's no parking. So if you looked on a real busy school day, there might be some parking there, but you can't extrapolate that for the entire year. And I think that's why the income is showing what it's showing at, $50,000. You're about $110 gross per stall per month. That would appear to be, likely based on maybe 120, 130 during school season and 60, 70 outside of school season.
That's it for questions.
That's it for questions. Do you have any questions, Lori?
No, thank you.
Diane, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Okay, let's go on to our
Mr.
last
Chair, can
one
I
then.
have a 2-minute, somebody that was supposed to come to my door at 1 o'clock is here now. I just have to give them a key.
Okay, let's take 5.
Thank
Call the meeting back to order. Mr. Singh will be dealing with Hargrave.
Sorry, may I just interject for a minute? You never gave me a chance for closing comments, and I actually had some on 307.
Oh, did you? Okay, go ahead and give us some closing comments, Mr. Neufeld. I'm sorry.
That's okay. First of all, I don't like doing what I just did, which is to change the value for a lower amount. And really, the extenuating circumstances in this case were that our client has some difficulties in communication, and he has failed to provide returns for the last few years, and is always asking us to do his appeals, and I was really honestly avoiding it. He filled in the form and sent it in, and we weren't looking for this business. Now I find out he's submitted his forms. We didn't have those statements at all. And it would have influenced us greatly had I seen the income, and that's why I don't like surprising. I don't like changing the number, but I mean, the truth is the value and the income it's making, which is why I suggested 444,000. And to tie that in with our direct sales on page 1, I would be looking at properties like 626 McDermott at $41 a foot as a good comp to be relied on, as well as some of the other more located properties in North Winnipeg. Thank you. I'm sorry I did that.
No problem. Mr. Singh, we're going to be dealing with number 10, which is, I guess it's not showing an address, but it's Hargrave, I do believe.
Yes. So let's file number.
This is
20.
on value again, just value, right? There's no, yeah, just value.
Yeah, it's on value again. So file number 22-3386, roll number 1209256400. Address is Hargrave Street. Assessed value is $517,000. It's surface parking. Zoning is downtown living. Land area is 6,056 square feet. And outdoor parking is 17 stalls. Recommendation is to maintain the 2023 assessed value of $517,000. Page 2 is the subject property area photos. Page 3 is the street level photo. Page 4 is the request for income information. Page 5 is the subject property market sales comparison, land sale comparisons. We have the subject property 6,056 square feet at $85.37 per square foot. Page 6 is a map of the subject property pertaining to the comparables. Page 7 is the Municipal Assessment Act excerpts. Page 8 through 16 is the INE mailer that the owner submitted, and that's the presentation.
You're done?
Oh yeah, that was the presentation. That's
Okay.
it.
Mr. Neufeld?
Yeah, I guess the same question as the other one. So you're using direct comparison to support the appeal. Was there ever a income valuation done on this property?
Again, the income valuation was the value was not very representative of the market value of the subject property.
On your page 13, you're showing net income of 16,500. Was there anything wrong with this income?
Again, when we did the income, it was not indicative of the market value of the subject property.
Okay, those are my questions.
Diane, any questions?
I do not.
Lori, any questions?
I have none either, thank you.
Mr. Singh, it seems we're all over the place today. You were right. Some of them we're doing on comparable for value. Some were using what their income was. Do you think their income was down on these units because of COVID? I haven't seen any COVID questionnaires.
Regarding COVID, I believe the income and expense mailers were up to December 31st, 2020. When everything started to shut down, I think that was June of 2020. So they did have opportunity to give us their income during COVID at that time.
Would that be the reason we didn't use the income? Because it was lower because of COVID?
I can't tell you for sure, but it's one possibility, yes.
Okay. Mr. Neufeld, with your presentation, please.
Thank you. Background on this property is it's parking for 310 Broadway, and 310 is I don't know if it's showing up on our picture. No, it doesn't. 310 is you can see our picture of the subject property it's on Hargrave, and then there's a apartment building to the north, and there's a back lane. 310 Broadway is is northeast of this, and the lot was purchased to provide accessory parking for 310. Sorry, the assessor's got a better picture on page 2, top of page 2. There's 3 buildings north of this, and it's the one at the corner of Broadway and Donald. That's 310 Broadway. The land was purchased because there was a lease in 310 for the Federal Department of Justice. So this housed the Department of Justice office in Winnipeg for the feds. They rented 5 floors in 310 Broadway, and a requirement under any public works lease is parking. So the owner had to buy a lot and provide parking, and he was paid for it. What's of interest in that is that Justice moved out in 20, but had to continue paying the rent because the lease didn't expire till 21, and they continued paying the parking rent because it was under contract. So I just glanced back in time, and the rent has always been around $17,000 for this parking lot, the net rent, and it's 16,500. Now, just for information purposes only, if you took their 16,500 in income and capped it at the 4.5 the assessor has used earlier, that's a value of 367,000, which is remarkably close to what we're looking for value. And I like it when things come together like this, because we know we're on the right track as to what the rate would be per square foot and what the rate would be per stall. And you'll note we used a lower number than we did for the other properties, because it is a more inferior location on South Broadway. Much less demand for parking, absolutely no potential for casual parking. Firstly, because there's no demand. Secondly, because under the contract, it's 24-hour parking rights to the tenant as required under contract. So there was no opportunity for casual. So our number, either by per stall or per square foot, is 354,000. Income would be 367,000 using the assessor's 4.5% cap. And the other point I was going to make is it is a fairly unusual parking setup. The assessor's page 2's got a nice picture. So this is a poor setup, and this is one of the reasons we thought that a lower rate was required for parking. You have perpendicular parking, one row parking perpendicular to the length of it, and the other one parallel to the length of it. So you see that there's 4 lots that are parallel, and then the other, I guess, 13 stalls are perpendicular, and that was to fit it in the space. So it's a poor yield lot, which it was one of the reasons why we went to a lower rate per square foot and a lower rate per stall, just because it's got a poor yield. There's a possibility, though, that there may be some exemption changes on this, because the new owner is an exempt site, so they'll be using this for their parking. That's not under appeal today. We're just working on that. I'm mentioning it as an aside. We think the value is fair at 354,000. I first inspected the property. Why does he leave when I'm telling my good joke?
I get my plug to plug you in.
Okay. So I first inspected this property many, many years ago. I was working at a gas station and I got fired, and I had to go.
Oh my God.
Not that anyone on the panel had anything to do with it. And I got a job as a janitor to work my way through. 310 was one of our properties, so I'm very familiar with it. Thank you. That's my presentation.
Rocky, if I hear that one more time. Any questions, Mr. Singh? Mr. Singh?
No, I don't.
No questions? Thank you.
No question.
Diane, any questions?
No, sir.
Lori, any questions?
No, thanks.
And I've got no questions. Anything in summation, Mr. Neufeld?
I will. I'll just see if Mr. Singh wants to go first.
Okay, Mr. Singh?
Yeah, I just wanted to say regarding the COVID question that you asked. Obviously, I didn't explain myself. We did send the questionnaire, and he returned the COVID questionnaire. It's on page 15, and he didn't indicate there was any loss due to COVID.
Okay. I hadn't seen that. Thank you. Mr. Neufeld?
Just in general today, and I mean nothing disrespectful towards the assessor. I found him to be quite truthful, but the city can't go and change methods to one that suits their needs. You know, we're dealing with parking lots today. There are 2 acceptable methodologies. One is the rate per stall in a direct comparison, and the second is the income approach. And the 2 should support each other, and if they don't, you made a mistake. I think that in our final submissions to the board, we did exactly that, is we showed you how one supported the other. And I believe our numbers represent true market activity. I work for Colliers. We sell and buy these lots for our clients, and we manage them. There's no hypothetical issue here. It's all about what does the market speak to, and I think we've done that much better than the assessment department's variable model system. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Neufeld. Now we've heard everything, haven't we? We have heard all the items scheduled, and this hearing is now adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great day. Bye.